Hi, welcome to the Resources Roadhouse. I'm Wally Graham and I'm at the 2020 RIU Explorers Conference here in Fremantle, and I am talking with Barbara Duggan, who's with CSA Global. Now, Barbara, I sat in your opening address yesterday and I'm still a little bit dizzy from it actually. Being a lay person, so to speak, it was highly technical, very, very interesting. Now, can you just quickly explain to me what it was about?
So what I did was I took a lot of old data and company data, and instead of looking at it from a rather accurate view of all the data, I actually looked at it from a more sort of holistic approach.
Right.
Because I was combining a lot of old data with new data.
Yep.
And technically when you do that, you're supposed to level data and you're supposed to remove a lot of the statistical problems that exist in it. But I wanted to look at the data from an anomalous perspective and say, well, is there zinc there or is there not? And any of the other elements, are they there or are they not?
Right, so okay, just a little bit of backstory there. So the data you were going through was drill data.
Yes.
From St. George.
St. George Mining, as well as other companies. So WMC had drilled there, Dominion.
Out of East Laverton.
Out of the East Laverton
Right,
project
okay.
over the last 50 years.
So you had all this drilling data.
Yes.
And they had, this is my take on it, correct me if I'm wrong, they had been looking for particular elements.
They've been looking for nickel sulfide projects.
Right.
So they were really only looking for nickel, copper, and any platinum, like PGE elements that might have been in the data.
And so by not looking for the other things that you were looking for, the rest of the elements, they were probably robbing themselves of a potentially richer project.
Yes, well, sometimes what happens is when you drill a hole, you have to drill through a lot of waste rock, in theory, to get to where the money is, where your deposit might be. But you always analyze that rock anyway. But if say for example that commodity isn't very prospective at the time because there's no money in it, you wouldn't waste your time looking at that data.
Right.
And so the data was all there. It wasn't at the time interesting to look at because it wasn't the focus. They were focused on finding a nickel sulfide deposit. They had beautiful intersections of ultramafic, and they were trying to figure out, well, where's the nickel? But in doing that, all the anomalism that was sitting outside of the ultramafics was missed, and it was overlooked because it wasn't a priority at that time.
And it wasn't just sort of like one or two. There was quite a suite of metals in there that you found. Yeah, what did you find?
So there's actually, it turns out there's a very significant VMS signature there. So for volcanogenic massive sulfides, but most likely a zinc style, a lower temperature system. So zinc, cadmium, silver, tellurium. There is a bit of copper kicking around, lead, tin, molybdenum. It's quite a substantial hydrothermal signature from a deposit perspective.
And so the beauty of this is that if you go through and log it the way that you did, then you really know what's there. So when different metals, different elements become fashionable, they come, the metal of the day, so to speak. They can go back and say, oh yes, actually we do have a little bit of that. Let's go and drill around here because we found some of that there. Let's focus some drilling in here now.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of. It's. I guess the big point that I was trying to get across was that area has there's a whole suite of deposits that could have a lot of those elements present in it.
Yeah.
And so a hydrothermal deposit, so like epithermal gold or organic gold, VMS, porphyries, they all have a very large alteration and element anomalism system that can extend for tens to hundreds of kilometers.
Right.
And what I was trying to show is that I don't know exactly where or if there is a deposit there, but there is a substantial amount of element anomalism to support that there is a significant
pathfinders.
Yes.
There we go.
You gave me the word I was missing.
How smart do I look right now? Yes, there we go.
So there are a lot of pathfinders there for that type, for one of those types of systems. But the data suggests it most likely would be a VMS.
Right.
And the signature in the rock that was drilled, which might not be the most prospective place to drill at this time, has a substantial signature present. So how I interpreted the data might not be perfect and exact from a reporting viewpoint, but it would get you to go back in and say, well, let's go run an air core program over a large bit of the area and see, and maybe target a bit better using some geophysics, finding the right horizons, and go back and see, is there something there?
All right. Well, I'm sure there was a lot of people in that room yesterday who were listening to you, who probably understood things in a lot more detail than I did, who were probably sitting there going, this is very interesting. I think we need to talk to this young lady, and I think there might be a bit of a path being beaten to your door right now for people to knock on it. So, Barbara, thanks very much for being here at the Roadhouse, and thank you for explaining what you were talking about yesterday. That's great.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.